Hi, it's easy to assume that information architecture primarily focuses on systematically organizing information in this super well organized structure of visual hierarchy. And this isn't wrong, but I wanted to illustrate why architecture really does go deeper. So I wanted to do this by comparing the Barnes and Noble's physical stores with public libraries. Both of these kind of places, they are for readers and they are for helping to discover and access literature. Both curate books and have a wide array of patrons, and they both seek to to create this curated selection of titles while providing an experience that is balanced by various factors. So neither approach is right or wrong. And as you know, the experiences that they provide are vastly different. So in the same way, information architecture must reflect the unique business objectives or the mission that's coupled with users' needs. So my name is Ken and you're watching Mastering UX. So, what is information architecture, also known as IA? Well, information architecture is the foundation for creating meaningful, accessible, and user friendly digital experiences. IA involves designing intuitive navigation system, ensuring that content is well structured and its hierarchy clearly labeled, discoverable, and findable. But to achieve this, at its core, information architecture must put the user's needs and business goals at the center. So let's take public libraries. Public libraries are designed to be logical, systematic. They're there to facilitate this easy access to information. Libraries, you probably know they've adopted this classification of systems such as the Dewey Decimal or the Library Congress system. It kind of groups books by subject matter. And this is a kind of an organization where it enables the people that are coming into the library to locate specific materials very efficiently. And it's either by searching the catalog or browsing through clearly labeled sections. While public libraries, they often offer curated displays and reading areas, the primary focus of a public library is usually to provide this kind of structured, navigable space for information retrieval. The starting point of navigation can often be several computers that really are there for you to help find, browse, or search for a very specific title. A public library in a moderate-sized city, how do they go about curating and finding their materials? Well, they consider the demographics and the needs of their citizens, and they're adhering to maybe policies, which kind of things might not be ethical or a bad influence. And they're working with a budget and space constraints. And they're also consulting with what professional reviews are, what kind of things are acclaimed. And they're also incorporating the feedback from its very citizens. It's a multifaceted approach and enables these libraries to curate more of this well-rounded, engaging collection, and it's meant to serve a diverse set of needs for their community. So, in my local area, there's a University Park Public Library, and I've even found that there was these archives of listings and of properties listed by street, and you realize a feature like this may not be popular, it doesn't generate any revenue, but it clearly provides a public service for my community. Now, in contrast, Barnes and Nobles, these stores prioritize browsing and exploration. They're trying to create this visually appealing environment that encourages customers to wander and discover books. Store layouts can often feature prominent displays showcasing new releases, bestsellers. They might curate popular topics such as current affairs, and even these curated selections, they're there to entice customers to peruse books that they may have not been even considering. So Barnes and Nobles is not afraid to kind of go off what you've been specifically looking for. They want you to kind of explore something that you may not have been thinking about, and they're not afraid to even dedicate floor space to journals, notepads, toys, puzzles, and other kind of items that customers that just might be likely to buy. Additionally, you might find cozy seating areas, the integration of cafes to enhance this kind of browsing experience. They're trying to invite customers to linger, to engage, which is really the opposite of this kind of efficiency approach. So, this particular Barnes and Noble that you're looking at right now, they didn't even have a kiosk or a computer for helping you to find a particular title. Now, recently I visited another Barnes and Noble, and it's right by a school, Southern Methodist University, also known as SMU. And what I was amazed about is 75 to 80% of the floor space was taken up by SMU material, textbooks, school supplies. And they really had a tiny selection of book titles that didn't even attempt to be this kind of balanced selection of categories and titles. So, why are these two experiences vastly different? Well, a public library is primarily designed to make literature and publications logical and systematic and accessible. They're excelling at helping users find specific titles, but they're not optimized for this kind of wandering, browsing, and discovering. Where Barnes and Nobles, they're offering this inviting experience for wandering and browsing, and it can be less reliable to finding a particular author, maybe say one who won a Nobel Peace Prize. Barnes and Noble is ultimately trying to create this customer experience, customer loyalty, but they really have this responsibility for maintaining a sustainable, profitable business, and they're not in the business of enriching a community with educational resource. So, how does this apply to information architecture and digital properties? Well, these same principles really hold true. To design your information architecture, you first need to understand your users, and you first need to understand the business goals or the mission. And so, you may decide that you need to emphasize findability over browsability, or vice versa. You may find that you need to emphasize the sort of the browsability and the wandering and the suggestive selling. So, your goals can very much differ, and based upon these kind of goals and the user's needs, how you're sort of organizing and hierarchy and visual kind of design that you're doing can vastly differ based upon this kind of user need and what the business is seeking to accomplish. So your IA solution may be deliberately immersive, or it may be straightforward and utilitarian. Again, it all depends upon your users and the goals of the digital property that you are working on. So the next time, say you hear a UX designer hastily judge a visual design based on structure of the UI alone, remember not to judge the screen before understanding the users and business objectives. So I hope you found that this kind of rounds out your understanding of information architecture. Information architecture is more than organized, systemized design. It goes beyond even hierarchy. Information architecture is a user-centered discipline, and it must embrace the objectives and the goals of the digital property. So if you found any of this information valuable, be sure to like this video. If you're interested in getting more content like this, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode. My name is Ken, and you're watching Mastering UX.